December the 14th, 2012. Exactly a week from today, just shy of midnight of December the 22nd, according to the Mayan calendar, the world is supposed to have ended as we know it. But of course, I don't believe that, because as a studier of prophecy in the scriptures, I know that certain things have to happen in order for the world to end. So far, prophecy has not been wrong. And that's what I love about the Bible. The strength of the Bible is not in its many moral codes. And yes, it is strong from that perspective. But in terms of its conviction, in terms of its believability, the strength of the Bible is in its prophetic utterances, the things that were uttered before man was able to know them and them to take place, to me, makes the Bible the strongest. And so we know that the Bible has said that before the world can end, we have to go through this process. And this process includes the nation of Israel. And that process indicates that they have to establish peace. To start off what is called Daniel's Week, I'm going to give you the small or the short version of this theory. Shall I say the simplified version of this theory. So they have to find peace to establish Daniel's Week. And then once they have found peace in the middle of that week called Daniel's Week, 3.5 years, then that peace is to be lost and the world is to be cast into a time as never before. Now, how we mark that is simply done this way. You have to use the law of math to understand the probability of where we are. Now, before I go into this dissertation, let me calm those who are going to quickly beat themselves on the chest and say, but no man knows the day or the hour. That is true. But the important thing to recognize is that the Bible did not say we would not know the signs of the time. So you can have days and hours, and you place them in seasons. There's an awful lot of hours in a season. So no, I don't know if it's going to be 12 o'clock in the autumn or 2 o'clock in the winter or 3 o'clock in the spring. But I do know that it may happen sometime in the spring, sometime in the fall, maybe sometimes in the winter. That I do know. So here's the point. We count the calendar from BC down to 1 and then AD up to 2012. The Jews count the calendar from creation, 1, that is year 1, up to the year which we're currently in now, 5773. Technically, in terms of numbers, we are not in the year 2012. We are in the year 5773. Say it with me. 5773. So here's my little theory. I believe that the world cannot end next Friday simply because we have to meet the bar of Israel finding peace. They haven't established peace. Here's where you need to get nervous as far as the season, not the day or the hour, but the season. Say it with me, the season. That's right, the season. I told the saints at Bible class the other night, I said, if we come to the year 5992 and Israel establishes peace, be very nervous, because that puts us just outside of 7 years from the year 6000. 6 is the number of man. WWW stands for 666. If you study the symbolism, you see W is equal to 6. And so man's time, the globalization of man, the bringing together of the world community happened through the internet. It made us one. It's making us one. It will always do that. And so man has come together. So until that happens, the world can begin the process of ending. So I don't believe that's going to be the fact. Here's what I believe. I believe that the Mayans' prophecy, if you want to say, or prediction of the world ending was not about the world cosmos, which means bodies of planets, but about the world eons, which is the ages, the system of communities that includes humanity. I believe that man's system is teetering on the edge of destruction. What marks man's system? It is the dollar. When Jesus comes to the world, the Roman rule is in place. Alexander had established the world. The economy had one market language, and Jesus comes to bring transition. So God always works on the axis of change, of societal change, we call it dispensations, to bring about his divine change. And so I'm convicted that the world is going to change as we know it from an from an economic perspective. I was doing a study once when I was preparing my play called The Unholy Conspiracy. It had several spirits which I had imagined, which had commandeered the world system and caused it to move in directions away from God. One such spirit was called the love of money. And it was interesting when I was doing my research for that play. I found out that the word dollar, now listen to this, comes from a phrase which means one that warns. Dollar. One that warns. And so that's why Paul says to Timothy, for the love of money is the root of all evil. So I believe that beginning next Friday and beyond, we are going to begin to spiral down into economic disaster. The world economies are going to shift and change from that day forward. It may not happen on that day, but I believe if it doesn't happen, if there's not a major event, I believe that the beginning of our economic end will start. So I believe that the world's not going to end cosmos, but I believe it's going to end eon. That's my take. Tell me what you think. Inbox me.